What is up, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of The Tape Tomb, a show where we talk about some of my favorite movies in my ever-growing VHS collection. This week we talk about the iconic Sam Raimi movie about a group of youngsters confronting the forces of evil and then themselves in 2002's Spider-Man.
They say that a hero can save us. I'm not gonna stand here and wait.
Just kidding, it's Evil Dead from 1981, starring our Michigan hometown hero, Mr. Handsome, Bruce Campbell. Evil Dead is a movie that came from humble beginnings, struggled through some hard times, but ultimately became one of the biggest cult classics of the horror genre, and to this day is still creating content for the IP. We've had a couple of sequels drop over the years, a reboot, a more recent TV series, and even an upcoming video game, making the star Bruce Campbell one of the hardest working dudes in the genre, but a lovable fan favorite to this day, still attracting new fans. Like I said before, this is directed by the man, Sam Raimi, who's brought us every movie in this series, the whole Tobey Maguire Spider-Man film line, and he's even dabbling in the MCU now with the new Doctor Strange movie in the Multiverse of Madness. And alongside Bruce's chin, we have Ellen Sandweiss, Betsy Baker, and Richard DeManincourt, all playing the group of 20-somethings that will ultimately meet their doom. But what's this movie about? Let's go down to the cellar and find out. Roll the film. This movie starts with 5 Michigan State students cruising along in this classic whip to a place where I would never take a car from the 70s, but hey, it's their first of many bad choices. But anyway, we got Ash, his girlfriend Linda, sister Cheryl, friend Scott, and Scott's girlfriend Shelly. This happy-go-lucky group is on their way to a cabin to relax for the weekend and get away from that busy student lifestyle. As they arrive, this cabin looks a little more than questionable, but on top of that, when they approach the door to go inside, the porch swing that was violently moving around comes to a sudden stop. It's probably just the house settling. After they get settled and cook up some dinner, the cellar door suddenly opens. House settling. But most of our group does the smart thing and goes straight down to investigate. Ash and Scott find this ancient angry Facebook and recordings of the previous owners deciphering it. Turns out that this is the Sumerian version of the Book of the Dead, or Necronomicon for you nerds. So Ash checks it out and it's super creepy, but by listening to this guy recite the book, he's unknowingly unleashed all hell from this ancient book. From here, shit goes real south. Cheryl is clearly having issues with all of the spookiness and runs out of the cabin only to be assaulted by some weird horny trees. And through a game of cards, Cheryl finally loses control and whatever demon finds his way inside of her rears its ugly head. So they take her down Foghorn Leghorn style and they lock her in the cellar. So from this point on, Demon Cheryl hangs out in the basement tormenting the rest of the group. So of course, as the movie progresses, one by one in typical horror movie fashion, our group is turned into a gang of deadites, leaving Ash to deal with the mess himself. How will he deal with all of his friends turning into deadites and being trapped in this cabin by unspeakable forces? However he handles it, be prepared for cool practical effects, a little bit of cheese, and buckets upon buckets of blood in The Evil Dead. This movie for me hits home. I'm a Michigan boy, just like the star of the film like I said previously, and I know this was all shot in Morristown, Tennessee, but I'd be a liar if I said in the early 90s as a young boy growing up in Michigan that I didn't stay in a few seedy cabins like the one in this film. I love the rustic, woodsy, isolated setting because it creates a feeling of being totally separated and helpless. But what makes this movie really shine and separates itself from other in-the-woods horror movies is the character Ash. Out of nowhere, this handsome devil totally switches gears and steps up to the plate. Ash is an amazing character that sets the tone for the entire series. His genuine, what the fuck is going on? I better resolve this issue by lobbing off my obviously possessed friend's head off with a chainsaw attitude is awesome, and we never see that in horror movies. Everyone's always questioning what they should do, what should I run from, who should I attack, but it's my friend. Not Ash. He runs in, chainsaw blazing, ripping off his friend's limbs like it's nobody's business. Ash doesn't give a fuck as he looks out for his own survival in a comical and blood-soaked fashion, and he looks cool as shit doing it. Evil Dead has a new movie on the way titled Evil Dead Rise, and although this next installment won't star Bruce Campbell, we're still idly waiting by and really excited. And if we're really excited about a movie series reboot, remake, whatever, sequel 30 plus years later from the future from the original movie, you know it's a perfect fit for us here at the Tape Tomb. Here's some facts about Evil Dead. The cabin used as the film set was also lodging for the 13 crew members, with several people sleeping in the same room. Living conditions were terrible and the crew frequently argued. The cabin didn't have plumbing, so the actors went days without showering and fell ill frequently in the freezing weather. By the end of production, they were burning furniture to stay warm. The original script called for all of the characters to be smoking marijuana when they were first listening to the tapes. The actors tried this for real and it didn't turn out so well. They couldn't use any of the footage because they were all just too uncontrollable. Bruce Campbell put up his family's property in northern Michigan up for collateral to Sam Raimi so he could not only finish the movie, but blow it up to 35mm so it could have a theatrical release. Raimi was so grateful that he put Bruce Campbell as a co-producer in the credits. Thank you so much for tuning into another episode of The Tape Tomb. I've been your host, Larry Downs. If you liked this week's episode, make sure you click that like and subscribe button down below, or leave us a comment about another movie we should talk about in a future episode. Tune in every other week to our sister series, Airlock Shock, starring Nick Haskin. He's always talking about sci-fi movies just like we do horror here at The Tape Tomb. Thank you all again so much for watching. I'm Larry Downs. Stay spooky, my friends, and we will see you in the sequel.